Hi, trust you're well and having a good week. This week we continued our series on Practicing the Way by John Mark Comer, which is be with Jesus, become like him, and do as he did. We spent some time this week looking at John Mark Comer's theory of change, of how we can be like Jesus. And we looked at his 6 points within his theory of change. The first was that it's slow, that the journey of becoming like Jesus is a slow journey. It's not a one-time event. It's an ongoing journey to become like him. And that's so countercultural to the way that our world works, in a very fast world where, you know, everything is fast and faster and faster. And somehow that our journey to become like him is a slow journey, and as he puts it in his book, it's a long obedience in the same direction. The second one is truth, that in order for us to become like him and become love, there is something about taking in the truth about who God is, the truth about how we can relate to God, the truth about how we can relate to one another, the truth about how we can relate to people from the other side, the truth about how we see money and the resources and the gifts and the talents that it's given us. And John says that Jesus came with grace and truth. And there's something about how we find ways on a daily basis to take in the truth about Jesus. The third is around practice. And if we're going to become like him, it requires practice. Jesus sets a really high bar in the Sermon on the Mount, but he finishes that in Matthew 7 with an expectation to practice, that somehow if we're going to come even close to living in that high bar that he set in the Sermon on the Mount, there's an expectation for us to practice. And in our work, in various forms of our life, we practice, don't we? So there's an expectation for us to find ways that we can practice out those points that he's raised within the Sermon on the Mount. The fourth is focus around community, that there's no solo apprentice, that there's an expectation that Jesus expects us to be within a community, that we grow to become like him within a community, a diverse community where we learn and we grow and we support each other, where we can rejoice with those who rejoice, where we can mourn with those who mourn, where we can love and equip and we can celebrate each other as well. So there's an expectation that actually if we're going to grow to become like him, it's part of a community where we're loving and showing the love and the grace and the mercy of Jesus to one another. The fourth is a tough one, and that's through suffering, that somehow that through the suffering that we go through in life, that God is able to use that to change our character, to look more and more like Jesus. And that can be really tough, but recognizing as we bring and give our pain over to God in times of suffering, that he's able to use that to somehow to shape us to look more and more like Jesus, and to bring about healing and wholeness and restoration. And the sixth is the Holy Spirit, the ultimate source of transformation, that through the power of the Holy Spirit, as Paul would say, as we're daily being filled by the Holy Spirit, that we can be transformed and we can look more and more like him as we long as apprentices to become like Jesus. Look, I hope you have a great time thinking through those 6 points within the theory of change model from John Mark Comer, and hopefully one or two or more of those points will resonate with you. Have a great week. Speak to you soon. Cheers.